First, I guess, are there any questions? We'll start on that end today.
So, your two boilers, when are they going to be installed?
Well, it will be after the first year, probably February.
But what you have now is sufficient to get you through till then?
Yes. He had replaced a burner. He had to put a smaller size in, smaller BTU. It was a 346,000 BTU originally, and he put a 250,000 in. But
So you just skim it?
it's sufficient because the original one was for 51 beds, and we're just 30 now.
Mm-hmm.
So the dynamics of the building has changed. So that's working, but he will replace it with 2 heaters, and one will be for the laundry, so that will keep that temperature up to like 162 where it needs to be, and the other one will be for the rest of the building. And so that will be more efficient, and it'll keep the laundry temperature up where it should be.
And I believe I heard you say that both facilities are full.
Yes.
And there's waiting lists for both facilities.
Yes.
Excellent.
We did have a state inspection a few weeks ago, so there were 2 people out here for a couple of days, but the report came back, everything was good, so that's always comforting to know.
Good. And staffing, you're able to keep, okay. I knew it was going to hit a nerve somewhere.
We're getting by. We're using agency nursing, but on occasion there's trouble getting agency nurses. She's checking with 7 different agencies. She's on there. It just makes sense that you can't just pick up and say, I need a nurse tomorrow. Their pool isn't unlimited either. So we're getting by, but it's a constant problem.
And it's everywhere. You pick up a newspaper from any community, and you're going to find ads for health care.
Yes. So I would have a question. You weren't here at the last time I was here about they'd said they would roll over that remainder that we haven't used for capital improvements for next year. Is that still a go?
You want to make a transfer from where are you going to take the money out of?
Well, out of that $6 million equivalent. See, we've not asked for all of that,
right?
But I talked to you earlier about because these boilers and there's some drainage issues that I haven't been able to get bids on yet. It's hard to get bids. And
I can see by the look I'm getting from Leslie that she needs more information.
Well, the situation as we have it is that the equivalent of 6 mils is more of an appropriation. It's not a guarantee. I mean, it fluctuates in regards to need. And so in order to do something like Eddie is indicating, I think we need to go to the auditors and say, okay, is this a possibility or is it not? But then again, I mean, the whole purpose of that equivalent was just to subsidize, and if they were actually making money, then they were supposed to be reimbursing.
And that would go back into the county general.
Right.
the profit part
Well,
would.
Anything.
Or the 6 mil equivalent.
Right,
The remainder in that
I mean,
would
like,
go back.
because every quarter, CCD is supposed to come in and say, okay, here's what we've done, here's what we've made, and if there, like it's lost, then they ask for a, subsidy. But if there is a gain, they're supposed to reimburse that back to the county. And it's supposed to be fluid, meaning that that equivalent of 6 mils is what's to be used, that year for the operations. But like I said, it's an appropriation. It's not like it's
dedicated or
Right.
fixed.
Right, it's not like other budgets, departmental budgets, where it's like, okay, here's our budget. Theirs is more like, okay, we get this appropriation up to this amount. And so I'm not sure how that would work with the auditors.
See, and that's why I asked the last time I was here, and they
Yeah.
thought that was doable. That's why I've been frantically trying to get these bids,
Right.
you know,
We
in
thought it was
December.
doable, but we thought we'd need to talk to Leslie auditors.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first place that we need to go is the auditors. As to, because this is an appropriation, can you transfer unused funds of that appropriated amount to capital improvement? That's the question.
That's too bad, because when Good Sam was up there, they just come in and took it. And I'm sure they put it into the capital outlay fund of their
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
You
Up in
know,
Iowa.
I mean,
No, because you were still paying for the improvements.
yeah, but I mean, they took the 6 mil equipment every year. They didn't, you know.
And last year they emptied it in
Right.
October,
Right.
and then we took over. So we got 14 months in our fiscal
But now
year.
that we're under our own budget, it's a whole different ballgame.
Well, like I say, I've been trying for 90 days to get these bids finalized, and it's like pulling teeth.
I guess the best we can offer you right now is I think, as a commission, we're willing to do that if it's a doable thing with the auditors.
I beg of thee.
Which I'm going to have to put it on Scott to get that email sent out to the auditors, because we've got a lot of stuff going on this week for me to get that done.
So we still have one meeting remaining in the month, so if we can get it organized and it's a doable thing, we can make that transfer at the end of the year.
And if not, what are our options?
Well,
Get these bids in?
get,
Before the
yeah,
first-
get the bids in before the end of the year and get approval for it, so you can go ahead and get those funds encumbered. Being one option, which, we'd have to make sure is still kosher with the auditors too.
Can you get those bids by then?
It doesn't look very favorable, Mr. Willie. I just finally got an appointment to look at the drainage thing last Thursday. And so I don't know how long it'll take to get numbers.
Yeah, that probably,
How many dollars are we looking at?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, approximately.
I would guess 30,000 on the drainage issues, and so I could. I'll try to get some numbers put together. I'm leaving the 19th, and we'll be gone. I won't be here for the meeting on the 31st.
But you can leave all your information with Scott.
Okay.
Well, by that time, you should have an answer of whether it's possible or not.
When will you know on your end whether
It
it can be
depends on when the
rolled?
auditors-
Well, but
John
when-
Reeves.
Whether it can be,
Yeah, first we have to establish whether it can be done,
yeah.
and then we'll have to figure out, if so, then we'll have to figure out how to move it within your budget.
So yes, we're running out of time, aren't we?
It's always that case. Remember last year at this time, we was out of time too.
That's not because I didn't try.
I probably shouldn't even say this, but is there a way that you could prepay some stuff, commodities, that you'll need next year? And that would, you know what I'm saying? If you spent the 30,000, yeah, it would give you 30,000 next year to do some of your projects. I mean,
The problem is, we don't know where we're gonna lie.
The thing of it is that this whole fund is to be a backup. It's not supposed to be the funding source. It's supposed to only help when the facilities cannot survive on their own.
But these capital outlays have not been taken care of. All these things should have been done
I hear
prior
you.
to.
We just have a lot of repairs that need to be done.
Yeah.
Is there a way you could postpone the date somehow, or, move it?
The date.
That
Well, the books
has to
don't
be-
end till, the books don't close till the end of January.
No,
Is that correct?
December 31st.
No, December 31st, anything done in December, I mean, your bill might come in January or February, but as long as it's dated before December 31st, it'll still be paid.
What I'm saying is, can we say instead of December 31st, make it January 31st somehow?
No.
They won't let you do that?
No, not on a budget.
Okay.
Well, I'll get back to work, man.
All right.
Well, appreciate your hard work on this.
Yeah.
I wish you'd been here last month.
Sorry, Eddie. I had a drift about this high behind my vehicle.
Because I just kind of thought, well, it was I just wanted to be sure today, but I kind of was under the impression that was doable, so.
Well, and I'm afraid we're at fault there.
Well,
Because
but
we just literally
I
didn't know.
understand.
Yeah.
And I know this 6 mil equivalent is a funny animal.
Right, I mean, because another part of it too is that there's a contract. There's a written contract that specifies exactly how this appropriation is and is not to be used. So that's another aspect
And
of
there was
it.
also a vote on how that was supposed to be used too, right?
What's that?
There was also a vote on how that was.
No,
Not on that one.
Not on that one.
No.
It's hard to
That-
keep these things in writing.
Right. That's why we always
Geez,
say
trust me,
equivalent.
how many times did we go through this? Is there 2 6 mils? Is there 1 6 mil?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I appreciate, Eddie, using your equivalent.
Yeah. We're thick enough that it doesn't soak in until we hear that.
So I try to plug that word into every conversation I have
right.
with you.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Eddie.
Okay, so, and we'll have a meeting with Sun Porch and later this month, and so there might be an operating bill turned in for the last quarter also, so we'll see where we're at.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And your continued support.
Well, given the Christmas parties and the meals and the fun that those people look like they're having up there, I think my wife and I are get on that list now.
No kidding.
God, they threw a heck of a party the other day, and the photos I saw, they was just having a ball, singing and eating and visiting. And,
Was it in assisted living?
All right, I've got this medical transport solutions that Larry, not even.
oh yeah, Fairham Rock.
Yep. We told him to check back in December, which January, both of the ones we pay for, Med-Air, Life Team, I think is the two. This is supposed to do everything, cover everybody.
I'm very. A little bit gun shy here. This is almost too good to be true. This was the individual that come in and was offering, ambulance service, whether it be air or ground, anywhere in the world.
No, there's two different packages.
Oh.
One's United States, the other one's in the world.
Yeah. But anyway, were you not here for that presentation? Probably not. Okay. Well, Larry Fehrenbrock from Atwood come over, and he is an insurance broker, more or less. And he come across this NASA Medical Transportation Solutions. And the information he relayed to us was that, as Scott mentioned, there's two plans, one worldwide and one for the United States. He told us that, I'll just use the United States as example, it'll cover every ambulance service, every air service, everything
In the U.S.
in the U.S., every company, and I'm like, that just sounds too good. I'm skeptical, I'm sorry.
Was this the same one that they said that they would, if your pet was with you or
Yeah,
something?
if you buy the worldwide policy, let's say you're in France, and I'm quoting him, this is how he explained it to us. They will provide ambulance services in the country you're in, plus provide services back to the United States for not only you, but your family members, and he even said even your pets. And there again, I find that hard to...
Say you're traveling in Canada with your pet, and you have to be flown back, they'll see that you're